welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you post-game today. No in-game action. I don't think you can blame me. 9-4 after the Hedgie home run. I slowed it down a little bit getting onto the live. I'm not going to lie to you guys. 7-4, the Elias Díaz home run made it interesting. It is just always going to be difficult to overcome a 5-0 deficit, no matter what. No matter what, it's going to be a 5-0 deficit that really becomes insurmountable late in the game with more runs being added on. Rangers throw in Winston Santos. He makes his MLB debut. It did not get off to the best start, but we have to remember there's a lot of potential with Santos. Ceiling is very high. You saw some of the stuff today. Can touch triple digits. That changeup is kind of Peyton Gray filthy, if you will. He came in and I think had a lot of nerves. The mound was a little beat up. Don't know if you really want to use that as an excuse. Definitely played a small part, but I think he was wild coming into the game anyways. Give up the Austin Hedges home run. That's how you know, okay, that double A ERA makes a little bit of sense, right? The 7.44 Frisco ERA that Winston Santos has accumulated makes a little bit of sense now, doesn't it? Look, not a game that you obviously want to drop, but after it's over, when the dust has settled, I think you look back on this road trip, 7-3, right? In 7-3 on this roadie. I think you got to feel okay with that. And so today, I think we can definitely pick apart some of the negatives, some of the reasons the Rangers didn't get it done today. But with that glass half full mentality of, look at the road trip, man. 7-3. Dave Raymond, I think, said it best. Like, if you would have told me we're going to go 7-3 on this brutal gauntlet of a road trip with no days off, right? 3 in Miami, 4 in Toronto, 3 in Cleveland. It's a brutal 10-game stretch with no days off, man. If you would have told me the Rangers are going to go 7-3 on that road trip before it started, I would have been overjoyed. I mean, yeah, winning 2 of the 3 series is huge. Could have won the Marlins series, in all honesty. Could have won the Marlins series. You had opportunities. You didn't get it done. They could have won that Miami series. They really could have. Now you finally get to go back home. You get a little home cooking. You get Thursday, tomorrow, Friday. I think because of the 4th of July holiday, you know, anytime it falls on a weekend like it does this year in 26, 4th of July is on Saturday, right? I think Friday, national holiday, maybe that's why they decided to do the off day then. I don't know. That's my best guess for you. But you do have a bit of an off day, a bit of a breather in between this series upcoming with the Tigers. Let's see. Brody, what's good, man? Don't want to hear no hate. Rangers had to lose eventually. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to hear anybody sky is falling either. I mean, like I said, we're always going to analyze what went right, what went wrong. And some people automatically take that as me just being negative. Look, this is a show where we break things down, right? We analyze. So we'll talk about some of the reasons why things went wrong today. But again, viewed through that lens of, hey, we went 7-3 on a road trip, man. It's not anything to be overly upset about. I do think there's a couple of major takeaways I do still glean from this game, and I'll share those with you shortly. But as I was saying, upcoming series with Detroit, what's kind of nice is you avoid Tarek Skubal. They do face Casey Mize on Sunday, but you avoid Skubal again, which I posted about this a couple hours ago. You had Skubal twice last year. The Rangers had to face Tarek 2 different times, right? Both on the road and at home. And so we'll take the 2 series in a row that we get excused from having to face him, man. I know Skubal's numbers are not quite as elite as maybe what we're used to, still getting a ton of swing and miss, but it's absolutely okay with me that we get to miss out on one of the best arms in the game. It's kind of happened a few different times this year, right? We didn't have to face Ohtani in the Dodgers series, even though the Dodgers series ultimately was a loss, could have been a win. You had that first game where I think we lost 8-7 after going up big. Corey Seager had a homer, Wyatt Langford hit a homer, and we still ended up losing that Friday night game. We could have won that Dodgers series. Didn't have to face Ohtani in the Dodgers series. Didn't have to face Skeens in the Pirates series. Haven't had to face Scooble 2 different times. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we faced Dylan Cease. He's been phenomenal. We've had to face Max Fried from the Yankees. We've had to face our fair share of aces. But I will be okay every single time we get to miss one. So Detroit coming up next. We're going to preview that series at the end of the show. Maurice, what's good, man? I'm glad you're going to the game tomorrow. Jealous, always jealous. It is going to be fun to be able to see these guys at home again, I think. It's been a long road trip, a long time away from Globe Life. If you're able to go to the games this weekend, 4th of July, when I lived in Arlington growing up and in my college days, man, 4th of July baseball at the ballpark was a staple. Fireworks on the 4th, man. I went to many a 4th of July game. Highly recommend it. Are they going to do roof open? I probably doubt it. Texas in July, probably doubt it. What have they done in the past? Have they gone roof open on 4th of July ever at Globe Life? I don't know. I'm only used to, the 4th of July at the old ballpark in Arlington. And of course, after the game was over, a beautiful fireworks display. Man, I definitely miss for games like this living locally. That was just, again, almost every summer. And then my buddies and I, when we got older, high school, college days, we would always be going. You take your girlfriend, watch a game, watch the fireworks. It's awesome, man. I definitely miss being. I lived less than 10 minutes away from the ballpark. It was incredible. Loved it. So if you had a chance to go this weekend, you should. You really should. Off days for the World Cup. Zach, thank you, man. I wondered if it was for the 4th of July. And again, I know Friday is kind of the holiday, right? But man, that makes a lot more sense. You got a little World Cup game going on. Hey, World Cup tonight, right? USA playing. Man, I hope they get a dub. Oh, we got to get this 4th of July weekend started off right, don't we? Come on now. The boys can't let us down. I'm glad they made it out of group stage, but man, they can't let us down. We've got to get a win tonight. I'll be watching for sure. All right, let's talk baseball. You guys definitely add in your comments along the way, but my biggest takeaway is something that I have said a lot to you guys about the Rangers, the rotation, and MacKenzie Gore as a whole. I think you can see the upside with MacKenzie Gore. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You can see the swing and miss. You can see why the Rangers traded for him. But I must admit, the trade right now is questionable. It's questionable. You can question it and you can ask, was it really worth it? I think that's fair at this point in the game, especially considering you only really have a year and a half left with Gore. And if you have to miss baseball in 2027, you have even less time. I do think this confirms and solidifies what I've told you guys, which I know it was kind of a running joke for a while that, even though the offense was struggling a lot at the beginning of the year, CY was going to go out and get that primo starting pitcher anyways. I think that's actually a pretty strong reality right now. When you think about Texas in a playoff series, a 5-game or a 7-game, when you think about Texas going on the road for a game 3, who are you throwing in that game that you actually feel good about? Do you feel good about MacKenzie Gore on the road in a game 3 of a playoff series? I mean, look, Kumar Rocker's pitched well. Do you feel rock solid, no pun intended, with Kumar Rocker on the bump in a game 3? I mean, look, and if you're in a wild card series, I mean, that's 3 games right there on the road if you're not the home team, right? A wild card series, 3-game set all at one ballpark. So, look, a game 3 in a playoff series, whether it's the wild card round, the 5-game divisional round, or the 7-game championship World Series rounds, I don't feel good really about anybody in a game 3. I'll take my chances with DeGrom and Evo, but I have to think some of these starts, we're in July right now. I don't think in season or part 2 of the season you can continue to say things like it's early. when it comes to MacKenzie Gore, you don't have unlimited time with him. This isn't a prospect you just called up and you've got 6 more years left of the guy. This isn't a Jack Leiter situation, for example, where you just have unlimited patience for Gore. Gore's a free agent in a year and a half. And so I do think that CY is 1000% going to be exploring the starting pitching trade market. I'm not saying that that's all he's going to do. I would hope that he would look into a right-handed bat. I would hope that he would look into a high octane, high leverage relief pitcher. But I am almost certain he is going to have his eye on some starting pitchers. We talked about Casey Mize being a potential trade. We've talked about Skubal a lot. I might have to do a video on that. Should the Rangers go get Tarek Skubal, that would fire some people up. That would definitely spark some conversation, I think, because there's a lot of people that don't want to see the Rangers gut the farm anymore. And I kind of get it, but I don't want you to shoot the messenger. As long as they have DeGrom and Evo on the roster, which they do through the end of 2027, you have a club option or a mutual option for DeGrom, I believe. So you could pick up DeGrom for another year, depending on how he's pitching, but it is an expensive price, man. It's not like a cheap price for DeGrom in 2028 if you want to keep him. So for all intents and purposes, you've got Evo and DeGrom the rest of this year and next year. As long as those guys are contracted, I think that you are going to see the Rangers push chips to the center of the table. Maybe not all of them, but it's not going to shock me if they wave around Scarborough or Walcott at this deadline. If they are firmly in a playoff spot, I think you're more likely to see that happen than not. If the Rangers are not firmly in a playoff spot in about 3.5 weeks, it might be a little bit more questionable. I do think CY is going to explore starting pitching. Game 3 in a 5-game, in a wild card, or in a 7-game series, you just don't feel great. And we're not even talking about game 4, right? I mean, look, with DeGrom and Evo, I doubt you're going to see one of those guys turn around and pitch a game 4. We used to see that a lot more back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s. A guy would pitch game 1 and then 3 days rest, come back and pitch game 4. I don't think that's happening with Evaldi or DeGrom. I really don't. I don't think that's happening. So you're most likely going to see game 3 Gore, game 4 Rocker, or Leiter, depending on how those two pitch down the stretch. I know that some of y'all, are thinking Montgomery and hopeful about that. I'm not counting on Montgomery or Bradford to be anything more than either innings eaters or bullpen guys. I don't think Monty is going to turn back the clock to 2023. He hasn't pitched in about a year and a half. He was not good in 2024 when he pitched for the Diamondbacks. That's when he last pitched, by the way. So thinking Montgomery, who hasn't pitched since 2024 in a major league uniform, is going to come back and be like some playoff stopper. I mean, look, I respect the amount of hope that takes, but I can't say that I feel like it's reality. That's where I'm at. Now, Johnny, I absolutely agree with you. Like, offense is needed, and I want to see the Rangers go get a right-handed bat. You know why right-handed? I feel like a lot of the marquee players that we have right now are lefties. I mean, you got Jock Peterson, you've got Corey Seager, who obviously we're going to talk about today. You're hoping Seager is going to be a contributor at some point later in the summer. I know some people want him traded, but Seager's another lefty. Nemo's another lefty. You've got all these outfielders that are lefties. Evan Carter, Alejandro Osuna. You've got Nicky Lopez, who's a lefty. Josh Smith's a lefty. You've got a lot of lefties already. You really, I think, need to go get a right-handed bat that can be a guy that maybe you have in the starting lineup, no doubt, but also just a solid guy that you can mix in for depth. So if you want to go and get a marquee lefty bat, they need to at least go get a righty bat for depth. Right now they've got catchers that are righties. It's hard to count them as depth pieces. You don't really want to burn both of your catchers. You want to have one that's always available, if at all possible. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But I'm totally with the need offense. I hope that they prioritize the offense first. Then after that, I think they have to prioritize the bullpen. You've seen some guys step up, but right now, Peyton Gray, Junis, and Latz, And Junis is kind of sliding a little bit. He's not looked super sharp of late. Is that from overuse? Is that just, going through a bad stretch? That's yet to be seen. But I'll say this, you're going to see Jacob Latz continue to get a ton of usage. You're going to see Junis continue to get a ton of usage. I think that they're going to go out and try and get somebody that can take some of the burden off. I don't think Latz is going anywhere from that ninth inning role, but I do think that you will see the Rangers go and trade for a legitimate arm in the bullpen that you can use as a high leverage guy to take a little bit of heat off the players that have been doing it in the late innings all season long for Texas. Then after that, I would pursue starting pitching. I do think it would be valuable to go get a veteran arm that's pitched in the playoffs before. They don't necessarily have to be a guy that is like crushing it this year, just good numbers with playoff experience. I don't think it needs to be a whole lot more complicated than that. You can go get Scooble, sure. Like you could go trade for him. That would be a wild trade. I know some Rangers fans would be pissed off. I'd be pumped. Look, I mean, I'm not a big prospect guy though. And let me clarify what I mean by that. I'm not a big like hold on to prospects at no cost. I love prospects and I love diving into prospects. You guys know, like, I'm a huge Cam Cauley fan. I've been following Cam for multiple years now. I was a big, Cody Freeman guy down there when he was in AAA, starting to heat up. Like, there are a lot of minor league guys I love following, but it's a business. And at the end of the day, the odds of a prospect popping into a Hall of Fame player or an all-star, even an all-star level player, are not great. And so if you have an opportunity to go get a legit bona fide superstar like Scooble, even if it's for a half a season, I probably am a little more apt to pull the trigger than not. You're already in a bad spot with the farm. Right? It's going to take you multiple years to get out of the bottom of the barrel ranking that the Rangers are in right now. My thought would kind of be you might as well just push all the chips in. And you know what? Yeah, your farm is going to be a little bit depleted for multiple years, but you know what? If you're going to keep DeGrom, you're going to keep Seager, you're going to keep Evo on the roster, go all in instead of just doing this halfway in, halfway out thing. There are a lot of interesting trade options out there. Colts fan, what's good, by the way? Yes, back end help needed. Sporzy, BB, what's good? Sporzy has been up and down a little bit at Round Rock. I've watched him pitch multiple times. I'll probably watch him pitch tonight, or I'll watch Round Rock tonight since Texas had a day game. I think Round Rock plays later on this evening, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check on that. But he's been up and down. The main thing with Spores is that he has not been able to regain the velocity, right? He hasn't been able to regain the velo. Justin, thank you for all the likes, man. Appreciate you. Spores used to be 97, 98. He has a tough time hitting 95, 96 right now. Consistently, the last outing, he was at like 94 and would occasionally hit 95. So the big thing with Sporzy right now is just the velo has been lost. And look, I know that maybe that sounds extreme, but 97, 98, and then you're down to like 93, 94, maybe topping out 95. It is a big difference. It does make a difference. You have to be that much more fine with your location with the fastball, but you also have to be really good with the off speed too. Losing those few ticks off your fastball really does have a bigger impact than, just, hey, man, the hitters are going to have a little bit of an easier time timing it up. Steve, what's good, man? Thanks for your patience on this. I don't know if you're still hanging out, but either way, it's a good question here. Do they skip Quantrill versus Detroit, throw DeGrom on Sunday? He'd be on normal rest, could avoid the Angels, who seem to have his number. Monday's a day off, too. Yeah, I think that there is an argument for that. I do wonder if they will pitch DeGrom on Sunday. I was actually looking at the matchup, Steve, last night, and it was like that did click for me too. But then I think what won in my mind was, man, they kind of baby DeGrom a little bit. They probably will like the extra day. Skip getting interviewed right now. Hang on.
It was hot out there, hot for both teams. I'm not making an excuse or anything, but after a long road trip like that, to come away with 7 wins on this trip, I think we would have signed up for that any day of the week. we
Yep.
put up a fight too. That was not just a roll them over type of game. We put up a fight to the end, and it's just the team is they're really coming together at the right time, and especially with all the injuries that we've had, you wouldn't know it the way they're going about it.
You're still in the middle, though, of a long stretch. You go back to Texas, you're going to play a couple more. So how big was it for MacKenzie Gore to still get through 5 today, even though there's an inning when he didn't have his best stuff?
Yeah, I mean, he grinded today. I think he's, he asked to go out.
Talking about Gore right now.
I just didn't feel like it was worth it to push it right there at 90-something pitches. MacKenzie had really good stuff today. Just the one inning kind of got away from him a little bit.
I would actually agree with that about MacKenzie.
I think he'd tell you that he's probably pretty frustrated with the stuff that he had really good stuff today. The line doesn't show it, but yeah, we have a few games left. Obviously, before the break, some really important games. Some weird off days in the middle of them, but I think it's. I still feel like we're in a good spot, and our bullpen is kind of reset now because of Matt going 5 and Santos providing a couple innings. So we should be in a better spot tomorrow.
It seemed like Santos was out there ready to go for a while. I know he's waited a long time for this debut since being up here. So what did you think?
Yeah, he has. I think it warmed him up 15 times in this road trip. So for him to finally
they did warm Santos up a ton, man, before they finally brought him in today.
That's what you dream of, to get on the mound and make an appearance and all the hard work, just like we saw with Collie this road trip. He has electric stuff. He's not a finished product by any means, but you can see and you can dream on that type of talent that he showed tonight. 99 miles an hour consistently. His off speed's going to get better. So I'm glad that he got the appearance. He got the the one outing finally on this road trip, and it's only going to help him moving forward.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so a few things notable from that. I think Rangers fans will be a little frustrated with the MacKenzie Gore commentary. And I have kind of talked about this a little bit. Like every time Gore has a bad outing, you pretty much always hear from Skip, like, oh, he had good stuff. Sometimes I don't agree. And I think Skip's just saying that. I actually think he had pretty decent stuff outside of that second inning. I did post like, hey, credit to him. He actually kept the Rangers in the ball game. And I do like the fact Skip shared that Gore wanted to go back out for the 7th inning, even though he was at 92 pitches. I like that attitude, man. I do. I'm not forgiving Gore. And look, I know that sounds dramatic to say, but maybe a better way is I'm not excusing MacKenzie Gore and the 5 runs that he gave up. I don't want anybody to get it twisted, but I do think Gore just has to find a way to limit that complete soil the bed inning. I just feel like it's plagued him this entire year. He has like one bad inning. Maybe sometimes he has 2, but most of the time it feels like it's one bad inning. And then after that, he kind of figures out a way to settle in. I don't know. That's just my kind of eye test takeaway. Maybe I'm really, really off base here. I don't know. But MacKenzie needs to figure out how to limit the damage in the innings where he's losing it a little bit. Doesn't feel like he has as good of control. And as we go back to the earlier discussion on trade potential, I just feel like at this point, there's not a lot of evidence that you can really count on MacKenzie to be a consistent piece, let alone going on the road in a playoff environment. I'm not saying he doesn't have flashes, but I feel like where Gore is at right now is basically like where Jack Leiter was at. Is there really that big of a gap between what MacKenzie does and what Jack Leiter does? The difference is Jack Leiter is on a nice little rookie contract, right? MacKenzie Gore is going to be like a free agent in a year and a half. Like, I don't feel like the gap between Gore and Leiter is really that big. And for a guy that's going to be a free agent, like I said, after the 2027 season, feels like he should be a little bit further along. That would be my assessment. I don't think the Rangers probably feel super cozy with him as that number 3 starter. I think they see the potential. And that's the thing that we all talk about with Leiter, right? It's like, man, we can all see the potential. We can all see he's got a pretty good ceiling. I think the same can be said about Gore. But the difference is, Gore is so much further ahead than Jack. And so the expectations should naturally be higher. I just think the Rangers are going to pursue more reliable, steady options. Guys that, you know what, maybe aren't perfect, but are just going to give you good innings in October. Like, I'm not saying go trade for this guy by any means, but, think about like a Max Scherzer, right? I'm saying that's the kind of guy I see Texas considering. And what I mean by that is like the profile of, sorry about that phone going off, the profile of he's been there, done that. Like a guy like Scherzer, again, I'm not saying go trade for him. I'm just saying think about that type of player. An older player, has pitched in the playoffs before, maybe isn't, throwing zeros every other time out there, but you know that he's going to give you a fairly consistent outing each time. It's not going to be as boom or bust. I think that that's the issue with Gore. You don't know, am I getting like 7 innings of 3-hit baseball today? Or am I getting 5 innings of 5-run baseball? I think the Rangers will probably target a veteran arm that's been there, done that, maybe not lockdown, shut down, but is reliable. Like, hey, they're going to go out and give me 5 or 6 innings, 3 earned runs, and they're going to keep me in the ball game versus a player that is susceptible to a meltdown inning. That's my 2 cents on the Rangers and their prospects with the starting pitching. We keep rolling. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Gore is late 20s, isn't he? Isn't he like 27 or something like that? I'll look at the numbers. Gore, by the way, drops to 5-7 on the year. He was born, yeah. I mean, he's 27 right now. Born in 99, so yeah, 27 years old. I mean, he's not a young kid, man. He's at that point where he needs to be figuring it out. Jackson, appreciate seeing you, man. Guillermo, thank you for the comments, man. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate you, my guy. Yeah, look, we're going to talk about a number of other different things. Felt like, and I'll go to the comments real quick before I segue to this. Tried an opener for Gore. Kate, I'm a little bearish on like the opener thing. I'm not saying it's a bad strategy per se. I do think long term it's not a good strategy. When you're always using an opener, you're just automatically taxing the bullpen. I mean, think about it, right? I mean, you're ensuring that you're going to use a bullpen arm instead of, seeing how long your starter can potentially go. I'm not a big fan of the opener long term. I don't mind it for Kumar. Didn't mind it both times they've used an opener for him, but it's not something that you really want to get into a habit of. I mean, that's just my baseball opinion on that. I know some people are like, man, it works. Just keep doing it. But that's only because it's working. Once it starts working, a lot of people are going to turn on it and not want to do it anymore. The second Tyler Alexander gets lit up and 2 runs come across in the first inning, people will automatically turn back to Gore or to Rocker and be like, why can't these guys pitch in the first inning? You know how it's going to go. That's why you haven't seen me be like this big proponent for it, because people are just going to turn on it the second it goes bad. You guys know that. I don't even have to tell that to you. Rangers Twitter and Rangers social media instantly is going to turn on the opener the second it goes poorly. And the comment is going to be, why can't these guys figure out how to pitch in the first inning? I mean, it's like clockwork. It really is. Like, it really is. Let's go get Merrill Kelly. Yeah, baby. What did Merrill sign? Didn't Merrill sign a 2-year deal? Yeah, I don't know if he has a no trade, or I don't think he does, but it's funny, but I don't think it's going to happen. Pat Corbin, to me, would not be a guy I would pursue, and trust me, I was a bit of a Corbin apologist last year. I'm thinking, Kate, a little bit more of an upgrade than that. I'm thinking a little bit better of an upgrade than like a Pat Corbin arm. I'd have to really think about it, but that's the kind of guy I want. Go get somebody with playoff experience. They don't have to be a shutdown arm, but somebody who's pitched in the playoffs that's having a quality year. I don't need it to be an elite year. I don't need it to be like a, solid above average year. Just give me somebody that's pitched in the playoffs before, that's having a quality year. Just solid. And I think that's the kind of arm that you would feel better about in a playoffs. Yeah, Jackson, maybe a guy like Sonny Gray. I mean, you look at Sonny Gray, I know that he's come up a little bit before. in previous lives, but you look at where Sonny Gray is at right now with the Red Sox. The ERA is actually really, really good. This might be a little bit of an overshoot, and I don't know what the contract is for Sonny Gray, but I mean the dude's 9-1 with the 2.70 ERA. Like that is probably a little bit more cream of the crop than what we're talking about, than what I'm talking about. But if they would go get Sonny Gray, I'd be in favor. Pretty impressive he's doing what he's doing at age 36. I mean, that to me, I didn't realize he was up there in age, but that's impressive. What happened to Dane Dunning? He's still around, but I think he's with the Mariners right now. But I don't know if he's in the minors, like at Tacoma, or is he in the bullpen? I really don't know what's going on with Dane Dunning. Not sure. Either way, I think Sonny might be a little bit above the weight class, if you know what I mean. I think you probably go down a tier from Sonny Gray if you're looking for a trade target. Like, in my opinion, if you're going to go and get Sonny Gray, you might as well go get Scooble. I mean, Nate, I'm kind of with you on that. Like, if you're going to go get Sonny Gray, who's having an outstanding year and is probably going to be one of the prizes of the trade deadline should the Red Sox trade him, might as well go get Scooble. Like, seriously. Steve, I like this idea, going to get Gray, Whitlock, and Chapman. I'll sign up for that. I'll sign up for that for sure. Going to get Contreras would be nice too. That would definitely be nice. That could be another idea too. I don't know how open they are to trading Dingler, but could be that they can get maybe a package deal. You don't see that a ton. I feel like at a lot of the trade deadlines, like the blockbuster trades, you don't see as many of them. You see like the one-off with a bunch of prospects and maybe a major league depth player thrown in. I don't feel like you see a ton of like big blockbuster trades anymore where like multiple stars or like multiple really good players go. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, just feels a little bit more rare. Like, you remember like when the Red Sox and the Dodgers did that trade, and it was like, Adrian Gonzalez got traded, Carl Crawford came back from the Red Sox to the Dodgers in that deal. It was like, again, star players left and right. I just feel like, that doesn't happen quite as often anymore. But that would be definitely interesting if the Rangers could pull it off, whether it's with, Contreras and Whitlock and, of course, Sonny Gray, or whether they go a different direction altogether with a different team. John's in on Sonny Gray. What's good, John? Thanks for hanging out, man. Logan Webb, I don't think is going to get traded, Nate. I think San Francisco is probably going to hold on to him. I don't know. I thought I saw that they actually had come out and said that they are not dealing him. Now, you guys know how I feel about this. Any player is available. GMs will pick up the phone for anything, man. Why wouldn't you? It's stupid not to. You want to at least see what's a team willing to offer me for, Corey Seager. What's a team willing to offer me for Wyatt Langford? You'd kind of be an idiot not to at least pick up the phone and see what the market is on the player. So I'm sure Logan Webb, if you overpaid heavily for him, you'd get Buster Posey's attention. But I don't know where they're really at. They definitely, I think, could retool a little bit for next year and come back pretty solid. Feels like they just got off to a poor start at the beginning, and it's just hard to dig yourself out of that hole. We'll have to see what ends up transpiring. Yeah, Hunter Goodman, I think, is totally off the table. I don't think the Rangers are going to pursue catching help at all with the emergence of Elias Díaz. I know Hunter Goodman's been the subject in our chat for the last really what it feels like a week, and I like Hunter Goodman a lot. We talked about Goodman even last year. I just don't think with Diaz's emergence, they're going to want to go out on a limb and make any kind of crazy deal for a catcher. I think they'll reevaluate in the offseason. Maybe that's a good time where you can deal for a catcher if there's somebody you got your eye on. Maybe Malcolm Moore continues to emerge. I think Malcolm Moore probably has the front office hesitating a little bit on feeling the need to upgrade big time. And again, with Diaz emerging this year, there's really not a lot of pressure to go out and get somebody. I think they're probably going to trade Higgy. I know that a couple of people popped back at me during the game today and we're like, man, Higgy's good. Why would they do that? Well, Diaz is better. Diaz is a better defender. That's why Higgy gets subbed out at the end of every game for Diaz. I know some of you have caught on to that. I surely have, and we've covered it on the show. There's a reason why Higgy gets taken out late for Elias Diaz, and it's because Diaz is the best defender out of all three of them. I know Jansen has good blocking ability, but he's got one of the worst pop times in baseball. And so it's kind of a net negative for me. I'm glad that you can block balls in the dirt, Danny Jansen. You can't throw out anybody to save your life. I mean, I know he's done it a couple of times this year, but I think the hyperbole here makes sense. It's not good. And so I do think Higgy probably is numbered in terms of his days in Arlington. Maybe I'm wrong on that. If Danny Jansen has to do a longer IL stint, he gets transferred to the 60-day, whatever the case may be. Maybe Higgy ends up surviving the trade deadline. But I do think that they are going to pursue trades for Higgy. It's an expiring contract. And you're not going to, I don't think you're going to re-sign Higgy. Look, he hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been good enough to re-sign. I think that you could easily cut ties and you can go find a replacement player for Higgy in free agency next year. So I don't know how many people want to disagree with that. I mean, if you do, we can agree to disagree. It's not really a debate that I feel like going back and forth about. Expiring contract. Diaz is the better defender and the better hitter. Diaz is the better hitter out of all three of them, honestly, and the better defender. It's a no-brainer. Like, it is a no-brainer to keep Diaz as your primary guy. Feels like Diaz can kind of shoulder a little bit more of the load of every day. I'm not saying you're going to play Diaz every day per se, but I do feel like you can confidently play him 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4 games, and it's no big deal. Freddie Peralta, there's another name. Some of these guys I'm really going to have to start diving in on because I got to be real with you guys. Like with how I roll, I am so locked in on the Rangers. I try to stay up with the rest of the league, but it's hard. Freddie is 5-6 with a 4.53 ERA this year, 1.37 WHIP. I think that he would be an interesting arm, and maybe you would be able to potentially get him at a little bit of a discounted rate. He's getting lit up by the Blue Jays right now, though, Jackson. So I don't know, man. You're asking me at a bad time about Freddie Peralta. Freddie is getting lit up right now by the Jays. 3 innings, 5 earned runs so far. Oh, man. We'll see. Chase Burns, I think, would be way too expensive. Frankie, I mean, I like the arm, don't get me wrong, but I think that would be way too expensive at this point. Cole, I don't know if you're still hanging out on Instagram. I am sad that our win streak is over as well, my guy. Had to come to an end at some point, but you just didn't want to see it end. You didn't. Yeah, let me talk through a couple more comments and then I'll segue a little bit here. Definitely should try and snag a bat from the Red Sox or Tigers if we go after any of their pitchers. 100%. I'm with you on that for sure. Definitely should trade Higgy if we can. Yeah, that's my perspective. Expiring contract, too many catchers. Might as well see if somebody is willing to take him on, maybe take the rest of the salary, which isn't that much at this point. That would be, I think, an ideal plan for sure. Yeah, Freddie's fastball is definitely getting lit up right now, Dan, 100%. Now, today, a little bit interesting. You know, you had Smitty coming into the game. He did have a base knock. Smitty recalled recently from AAA Round Rock. I talked to you guys about this last night. He wasn't in the lineup last night for Round Rock. The game at Round Rock started about an hour after the game did in Cleveland. And so, you know, you had a little bit of a holdout there. Kind of the writing was on the wall at that point for me. They're probably sending him up to Cleveland. Smitty, that is. Again, had a nice base knock to start it out. Grounded into a double play with runners on first and second, 1 out at kind of a key point in the game. Kind of a tough lefty-lefty matchup for him. I'm not saying, you know, don't hold it against him, but I wasn't expecting big things in a lefty-lefty spot with Smitty. Smitty's having trouble enough hitting righties, let alone hitting lefties. But, you know, the real interesting move was it feels like the team was really just giving Evan Carter the day off today, because I don't know why you would not have pinch hit for Foscue and put Carter in once they brought in the righty bullpen arm. Carter would have given you better defense late anyways. I think it was probably a very strict off day for Carter, even though they didn't really come out and say it. So Smitty has to go to left field, has the ball that gets past him, the Stephen Kwan triple. It's just a lot of mixing and matching right now with the injuries, and it is what it is. I know there were some people automatically like dumping down on Smitty. I will admit to y'all, Smitty has not been good this year. I don't think there's any other way to put it. He has not been a good player this year for Texas. I am a Smitty fan, and I would thoroughly enjoy seeing him turn it around. I think he needs to go back to that full time depth utility role. The second base everyday thing is gone. That's either going to be Zeke Duran or Nicky Lopez at this point. With Seager out, it's going to be Nicky, obviously. But yeah, I would say, Smitty just needs to kind of go back into that bench role where he's playing, 3 or 4 days a week, subbing in late. I think that is going to work the best for him. I'm really hoping that his week and a half or so in Round Rock, although he didn't even play a game in Round Rock, he played all of his games in Vegas and in Tacoma for the Express. I hope that reset was humbling, and it was also a time where he could work on some things with less pressure, and now he's fired up and ready to get back into it. That to me is my ultimate dream for Smith. I hope that he locks in, and now that the pressure's off a little bit. I told you guys at the beginning of the season, there's never been more pressure on Josh Smith than this year. The club whipped up everyday second baseman. The job is his. We're giving him every opportunity. And I think what it created was a pressure vacuum. I really do. And I think that caused some struggles for him. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I try not to, overly invest in predicting the psyche of these players, but I can only make inferences based on the situation. And it feels like just a lot of pressure this year for Smith. Maybe some of it has gotten taken off his plate, and now the dude can just lock in. That to me is what I'd like to see. Andrew, yeah, congrats on the win, man. Enjoy it. We felt like giving you guys a game, the first 2 games. We got the series win, so little generosity from Texas, man. Little generosity, baby. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, man. I do appreciate it either way. Now, the other thing, let's talk about Corey Seager. I know some of you guys have already commented about him. I definitely want to talk this through. There's a lot going on right now. I do want to say this. A lot of people that don't like any kind of negativity at all, whether you post a bunch of positive stuff and like 1 or 2 critical things about the team, some people don't want to hear any negativity. Now, look, a lot of you guys not really like that, because otherwise, why would you hang out with me every day? You know that I pump things up when needed and I call things out when needed. So it's funny to me. I get people calling me one of the worst Rangers accounts on the internet. Go to my X page, man. It feels like every other comment, especially the ones where I'm being slightly critical of the team, right? I get somebody popping in telling me you're always negative. This is the worst account I've ever seen from Ranger, blah, blah, blah. And, then I'm seeing all of this Corey Seager commentary where people are just ripping relentlessly into Corey. More so than what I would ever do, right? More so than what I ever do. I don't do personal attacks at all. Will I say Corey Seager has a 170 batting average and the Rangers desperately need the bat to wake up? Yeah, I will, because that's truthful. And that's 100% fair to say if the guy's hitting 170 and he's one of our best hitters. But some of the personal attacks, man, does bug me. And it's funny to me that I get accused for being one of the worst Rangers accounts online when you've got people just relentlessly slandering Corey Seager. Now, I'll admit, just like I did with Smitty, Seager has not been good this year. There's no way around it. Corey Seager has not been good this year. The defense has dipped down. He hasn't been available, and the batting average and numbers offensively have not been good either. I think that that's very fair to say. I don't think that that's rude or mean. It is what it is. That's what the reality is here. That's what we're working with. But I never really put a lot of stock into judging the psyche or the character of a player. Like, oh, he doesn't want to be here. He's got paid and he doesn't want to be here. What a jump that is. I mean, that takes a lot to jump. I know that he's been hurt and I know that he's been out, but to say that, he doesn't really want to play, I don't think that that's true at all. I would really be shocked if that is the reality. Some people are convinced of that. Some fans, some Rangers accounts are convinced of that. I think some of the boys locally at 105.3, all those guys, I heard them talking mess about Corey, I think yesterday and today. I'll just say this. No GM, I posted this, no GM with half a baseball brain is going to trade for Corey Seager right now. No GM is trading for Corey. So anybody that's saying trade Seager, I mean, look, I love you, but like you got to know this. Nobody is trading for him right now. Why would you want to trade for a guy that has a storied IL history and is currently hurt and not playing well? Nobody would take that. You or I, if we were GMs, would you trade for Corey Seager right now? I mean, that's what I mean. Big Tex, it is 105.3 Talking Heads for sure. The best case scenario for Texas and for Rangers fans is they need to get Corey Seager 100% healthy. They might need to shut him down longer term than the 10 days. And I'd be okay with that. I don't think they need to rush Corey back at all. I don't. And I'm not saying that because he doesn't have a good batting average. I'm saying that because it's clear that the man is ailing and that he's got little things that just need to heal up. Back issue. He's dealt with hamstring issues. He's dealt obviously with concussion issues. Yeah, that to me is just a big red flag. And like I said, the fact that they came out with this 1 day on, 1 day off thing for him just made me instantly think there's more going on here than just the concussion. I'm not saying the concussion wasn't legit. What I am saying is I think it was clear when they took a step back and really evaluated Corey's entire health as a whole that there were some other things that were probably bugging him. And that's why they wanted to manage him better once he got off the IL from the concussion. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously you're hoping that there's a GM dumb enough to do the deal, but I think you and I both know at the end of the day, there's not a lot of clubs that are going to be taking on the Corey Seager contract, let alone the other things I shared. Like the Corey Seager contract is prohibitive. You're paying him what, $30 million a year? Right? I mean, isn't it a $30 million or something like that deal? I mean, I don't have the contract memorized. Nobody's paying $30 million a year for Corey Seager. It's just not going to happen. Even if Seager was having a good year, I think there are teams that would hesitate to trade for him. Rangers would have to be kicking in a lot of money, and that's the other thing. Do you really want to eat a lot of Corey Seager money? You've still got several years left in the deal. There's too many red flags here. I know that we sometimes rapidly react and, trade him, get him out of here. He sucks. He doesn't play and blah, blah. There's just not a good option. It's kind of like what I've said to y'all about the Rangers as a whole this year. What was so frustrating about the Rangers before they went on this winning streak, and look, still might be, who knows what's going to happen in the coming weeks. This team is so unpredictable. I hope they continue on their good run, but nothing shocks me with this team. And I've said that very consistently the entire season. Like, yeah, I just think at the end of the day, there's going to be that waiting. You have the Rangers waiting to see what's going to happen with other teams. They're waiting to see how they do. The hardest part is just waiting. And I think you're going to have to wait it out with Corey Seager as well with the health. Rangers, pulling the trigger on a fire sale right now, they wouldn't get value out of anybody. You remember 2 weeks ago, a bunch of people were saying fire sale, fire sale. You can't really do that. You're not going to get good value for anybody in June doing a fire sale. And I told you guys, CY's not fire sailing anyways. In CY's mind, even if they don't make the playoffs this year, they can reload in 27 and they've got a good enough team to do it. That's, I'm sure, what's going on in Chris Young's mind right now. 1,000%. Maybe Nico Harrison will take over. Big Tex, Wyatt is definitely missed. Wyatt is missed for sure. I really hope that Wyatt is not down longer than after the All-Star break. That would be bad. They need him back as soon as possible. You'd love, in an ideal situation, you would love to have Wyatt for 2 weeks before the deadline, just to see if you can give yourself a little padding and not make it as hard of a decision. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but you would love, hey, 2 solid weeks of Wyatt before the trade deadline, just to give your team a little boost so you can really know it's not just Wyatt being out, because that gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, the excuse is, well, we can't really evaluate what we have because, Seager and Wyatt and all these guys have been injured. That's the excuse that you get so many times from the front office. So I would like Wyatt to be back, definitely for his production, but absolutely so the front office can make a definitive decision and not play the what if game with the injuries. That's what I would do. Is it worth it to see Langford's value? He's off the field way too much, but is so good. Wonder what teams would be willing to offer. Not saying trade him. I just want to know his value. Like I said, Kate, I think you pick up the phone for anybody. Like, if I'm CY and somebody calls on Langford, I'm definitely going to double take. I'm going to ask the question. But yeah, I'm seeing what the market is for him. Absolutely. I am concerned about Wyatt and the injury stuff. I put out a video on it a few days ago. I do think he is at this point, if not already there, right next door to the injury prone label. He's been on the IL 6 times in less than 3 full years as a player. He's missed over 100 games in less than 3 seasons. That number pops out to me. Somebody was kind of pushing back on me when I posted the video and was like, man, he's played in 134 games his first 2 seasons. Well, yeah, but he's missed like 50 this year. So, I mean, I don't know why you're just pointing to the last 2 seasons where he played 134 games. You're right, but it's this year where he's missed 50. Or I think it might be in the 40s, in the mid 40s or something like that. Langford to me is a guy that you have to ride it out with as well. It's painful. It sucks that he's going through all of these IL stints, but there's really not a great option. You kind of have to ride it out with him. Now, look, in the offseason, a lot of us were, I think, bullish on a Langford extension. We wanted to see the Rangers pursue that, see if you could get some kind of team friendly, Jackson Merrill, and the San Diego Padres kind of like friendly team deal. I don't think Wyatt is going to do something like that, but at this point, I do think you pump the brakes on an extension 100%. You don't sit around and try and lock Wyatt up long term. I don't think that would be a good move. I think you've got to see a full year of health for Wyatt, and then maybe you can explore doing the extension. I do think Wyatt is ARB1 next year. That's going to be interesting. ARB1 next year for Wyatt, and you're going to start going through that process with him. So we'll see. Maybe the offseason will be a time where they consider some kind of extension, maybe to avoid arbitration altogether for the 3 years. You see some teams do that, right? They try and, hey, let's not do arbitration every single year until your rookie deal is up. Let's get you a nice 3-year deal here. We'll take care of arbitration the rest of the way. I do think they could consider something like that with Wyatt. I don't know if they want to do a 10-year deal right now. He just has not really proven he can stay healthy enough for me to want to do that. Look, I like Wyatt a lot. I've been hard on him. But he has missed a lot of baseball. Again, over 100 games. 134 is a bad full year. Yeah, look, 134 isn't like terribly bothersome to me, but back-to-back seasons, and now you've missed more games in a season than you ever have, right? I think he missed 39 games in between when he went out for the Dodgers series and when he came back for the Guardians series at home. What was that, like 2 weeks ago? So I just feel like at this point, escaping the injury-prone label is not something Wyatt is going to be able to do easily. And I know a lot of people get very in their feelings. A lot of fans get in their feelings that love Wyatt Langford when ever injury prone gets thrown out. But we're just operating in reality here. I mean, these are just the facts. He's missed over 100 games in less than 3 seasons. I don't know who hears that number and is like, that's totally normal. Like, what are we doing here? Come on. That's not totally normal. In less than 3 full seasons, you've missed over 100 games. That's not normal. I hate to be the bearer of bad news there. Brian, what's good, man? Hey, I'm glad you caught us. We're still going strong. We have probably about 10 to 15 left in the show. Hang out for the last 15, brother. It's good to see you as always. If Langford plays well and stays healthy, he's our right-handed power bat. Too bad he's got Trout's health too. That's the running joke. Baby Trout, like to a T. Right? The pop, the speed, the glove, and the injury list history. that totally is what we got going on. It really is. Yeah, Jackson, unfortunately, it does look like he is just about there. I hope that he can get a good run of health. What's crazy, I was researching this the other day when I made the Wyatt Langford reel that I put out. I think it was on Monday or on Sunday. I was like, was he injured in college? Like, surely this guy like has had issues all career long. No, he was barely injured when he played for Florida, which was really shocking to me. I'm like, what happened? Why is this guy just now suddenly injury prone? Because Wyatt Langford wasn't injury prone at all when he was at Florida. I think he got like hit by a pitch and he had to miss time. I had to get surgery, but he was back like 3 or 4 weeks later. Like there was like one injury at Florida. That's why this is all just like kind of mind blowing to me. I'm like, what is the catalyst? What is the impetus for this? Why is he suddenly an injury prone player? Because that's not what his track record has been everywhere else. I mean, look, even in the minor leagues coming up, not that he played in the minors for long, I don't remember him going through like injury periods when he was down at like A ball, double A, triple A. I don't remember that at all. Shoot, he basically skipped triple A, right? He played like 1 or 2 games there, but it's just odd how it's kind of come out of left field, no pun intended. We keep rolling. Langford also didn't come up as a good defender, but now he is a great defender. Yeah, look, Langford is a really good defender. I don't think playing center field, by the way, is like the big deal here. The dude just plays so hard, and it's why you love him. It's why you can almost excuse it a little bit. Like the big thing with Seager is that, he does have the reputation right now of not really being a hustle guy. Like, even if he is, like the MO for Corey right now is the dude doesn't really hustle a ton. And even like on the play where he got injured with the concussion, wasn't really hustling from second to third, wasn't really running hard. So you already have this cloud over Corey's head. With Wyatt, though, because of the reckless abandon in which he plays the game, so many more people respect that and can understand the injuries. You might not like them, but you're like, hey, this dude just gives his all and plays all out 100% every single play. A lot of people can respect that. This isn't a guy that's like dogging it, not hustling, but yeah, and he gets hurt out of nowhere. That's the tough part with Corey. God love Corey. I love him. But the optics just aren't great with Corey. With Wyatt, the optics are awesome. The dude literally runs through brick walls every game in some way, shape, or form. In the outfield, he gets great jumps. He's a very, very solid center fielder, left fielder. On the base pass, he's always trying to stretch a single into a double. He steals bases, albeit I hate the forward slide that he does into second base. The dude's going to shatter an ankle eventually doing that, man. He's got to learn the head first slide. We can all forgive Wyatt Langford a little bit more. Like we really can. We can forgive him more because he just hustles out there, man. He just goes all out. I love that. Love that about him. Hate that he has to have this injury stuff constantly hanging over his head. Yeah, the potential strike is definitely a factor in all this. This could be the 1 year honestly, the last year, if you don't play baseball next year, the contracts stayed exactly the same. The contracts are based on year on the calendar, right? The contracts aren't based on actual baseball being played. Evaldi is signed through 2027, the end of 27. DeGrom is signed through 2027 with the option, I think, that the Rangers could exercise on him. It's a club option, but it's a very high annual. I don't know if the Rangers want to pay a 40-year-old DeGrom $28 million a year, or whatever the option is. It's an expensive 1-year option. I don't know if the Rangers will pick it up or not. That'll be interesting. That'll be a really interesting call. But you do kind of have to have in the back of your mind, I don't know if Texas is actually going to have all these guys past this year or not. This might be your only year of Gore. If they don't play baseball next year because of the disagreement between the owners and the players and the impending strike, lockout, whatever you want to call it, that definitely throws a little bit of a curveball for this year, right? And what do? It's going to be very curious what transpires between the two parties. Don't talk bad about DeGrom. Nobody's talking bad about DeGrom. I love DeGrom. Trust me. I mean, look, my page on TikTok, if you scroll through, my page is littered with DeGrom propaganda. So don't take my comment as hate at all. I love me some Jacob DeGrom. But I do think the point remains, at age 40, are you going to pick up that 1-year option? Let me get the number right now just so we can definitely put this one to bed, and we can really dialogue about this more efficiently. So, again, 5-year deal. There's a club option in 2028. It's actually not as bad as I thought. It's not as bad as I thought. 2028 club option is for $20 million. That is interesting. A $20 million option for DeGrom is interesting. I can tell you this. I thought the number was closer to 30 than to 20. I would be pretty interested in a Jacob DeGrom at $20 million for 1 year. I can't say that I would be interested in $30 million for 1 year. $20 million for 1 year of DeGrom, if he's still pitching at a high level, that's doable to me. I'm not saying that you do the deal right now. That's why it's an option for 2028. You don't have to decide yet. But if he's still pitching at a high level and his health is good, it's a 1-year deal. You can pick up the option. It's not a mutual. Club can decide, do they want to pay him $20 million a year or do they want to let him walk? I feel like they'll pick that up if he has a good 2027. Highlights of DeGrom outing versus the Guardians. Dude is still throwing hard. Yeah, he was touching 100. I mean, look, this guy's 38 years old, touching 100 miles an hour. I mean, look, the chances of him totally falling off by 2028 are not high. I think even in 2028 at age 40, DeGrom is probably still going to be pretty solid. $20 million a year solid? Probably. Again, I think with contracts, unless there's some like crazy thing that happens with salary cap, salary floor, things they're going back and forth with between the owners and the players right now, right? Unless it gets really crazy or something big changes there, like I feel like $20 million for DeGrom is going to feel pretty cheap. It keeps on going up, right? Time to let Seager test the market. Hayden, maybe. I don't know if he wants to be traded. That's the other thing. I don't think Seager really wants to be traded. I don't think that the Rangers really want to trade Seager either. Some of the fans do, but I don't think it's mutual on either side for a trade. I don't think Corey wants a trade. I think he likes a lot of the guys in the clubhouse. In fact, all you hear from guys in the clubhouse is how awesome Corey is. And there was somebody on Facebook, I think, that made the point. Basically, like, it's a good clubhouse. If you trade Corey or you try and run him out of town, are you just going to mess with the vibes on the team right now? There is something to that. I think Corey likes his environment. I think the club loves Corey Seager. I don't think he's going to get traded. Yeah, Brian, maybe. I just don't see it happening. I don't think that they are going to be turning on him. And honestly, isn't there like some kind of no trade that kicks in after this year? Didn't we talk about that? Like there's some kind of Corey Seager no trade kicking in. I don't know. I'll look it up right now as we're talking, but man, it's definitely not going to be super easy. Corey's contract with the Rangers includes a partial no trade clause. The deal allows him to submit a list of 8 teams to which he cannot be traded. So 22 other teams that he could be traded to. Does it ever become a full no trade? Let's see if Gemini can come through for me here. Does it ever become a full no trade clause for Corey Seager? Because that was kind of the big thing that I heard. He earns a full no trade clause after the 2026 season under MLB's 10-5 rule. 10 years of service time, 5 consecutive years with the team. So you have to trade him this year if you want to have the option of trading him. So you could trade him this year to the 22 teams that he did not put on his partial 8-team no trade clause list. August 3rd is the date. Let me ask it again. What date does the full NTC become effective? Let's see. See what it comes up with. Love Gemini sometimes. Sometimes it gives you crap answers, but it comes through nicely. An exact single date can't be pinpointed because MLB service milestones are formally officially credited on the final day of the regular season. Okay. So I think that final day of the regular season, so I don't think you could trade him in the off season. I feel like what I'm reading here is it takes effect only regular season, and then off season you have the no trade clause kicking in totally. It comes into effect in August. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to have to do more research on this. Looks like the Fan or somebody did a video on it. I'm going to have to see what they say. They did a video on this 2 weeks ago. Okay. I know the Fan guys can sometimes be a little bit hit or miss. But anyways. All right. Astros, Rockies, D-backs, Angels, Yankees, Mets, Giants, and Athletics got to be those 8. Yeah. Don't you think the Dodgers are on there? I don't feel like he likes the Dodgers. I feel like the Dodgers have to be on that no trade list right now for Corey. I do not think Corey loves the Dodgers. I think ever since they traded for Manny Machado when he got hurt, remember Manny Wood Part 2? They had Manny Ramirez, then the Dodgers got Manny Machado after Corey Seager went out for the year. I think ever since they traded for Manny Machado when he got hurt, I think it pissed him off. And then remember, they courted Manny Machado before he signed with the Padres. I think, yeah, I think he is definitely anti-Dodgers, man. I would be shocked if they decided, or if he decided, yeah, I want to go back to the Dodgers. Gerald, what were some of the points though? I didn't listen to it. I saw, who are they going back for? I think they were going back and forth with Bryce from Locked On Rangers. Did y'all see that on X? I thought I saw they were going back and forth with Bryce a little bit. I saw some of the points. 105.3 is definitely fed up with Siegs. I can't go with him. My stance on Seager is frustration with him is totally warranted. He needs to be more available, but it's not realistic to trade him. There's not going to be a lot of value that you can get out of trading him right now. Look, even though his no trade clause kicks in after the regular season is over, you still could trade him. I think he would probably be willing to waive it for the right situation. So I don't think it's like this desperate, man, we got to trade him before the no trade clause kicks in. yes and no. I still think, like, even with Nimmo, think about Brandon Nimmo. Like, Nimmo had to waive his no trade to come to Texas. Like, guys will waive their no trade if you're trading them to a good situation. The only good situation trading Corey Seager for the Rangers is if they're trading him fully healthy. If you're trading Corey Seager injured, compromised, you're not going to hardly get anything for the value. And I don't even think a club would really take him on. You're basically going to be trading Corey Seager for peanuts. And I don't think that he's at that stage in his career where you still couldn't get some nice things for him if he was healthy and he was swinging a pretty decent bat. Frustrated Corey isn't available. Still a good hitter. Knows that he's hurting. People on FB are saying that Seager is hurting the Rangers. Yeah, I think right now the Rangers aren't missing Corey Seager in the lineup because he's kind of been a black hole, if we're just being honest. He is a nice presence, but I don't think teams are real worried about Corey. And there's a little bit of a book out on him right now. He's aggressive, overly aggressive to a point. A lot of teams aren't throwing him first pitch strikes and they're hoping that he chases. He's getting into negative counts, and that's when things start spiraling for him. So I do think that he's going to have to make some adjustments. He's a very free swinger. I think a part of him getting back to the Corey Seager we all know and love, you got to get fully healthy. And I think that he's got to be a little bit more disciplined up at the plate. We kind of have gotten the excuse with Seager, like, that's just Corey, right? That's just Corey. And I think we're at that point where, we can hold this guy accountable a little bit, right? We can hold Corey Seager accountable a little bit. And I do think he might be at a point as well where maybe you need to listen to the team a little bit more with hitting. It's documented that Seager has his own swing doctor and he's really, he takes some things from the club, but he's basically working with that swing doctor exclusively. And so, for me, I think Seager might have to do a little bit of work in the mirror, man, reflect and think about, man, should I change up some of the way that I'm doing things? Those are things that he's going to have to think about right now. All right. Baseball is a game of confidence. No matter who you are, needs to find it again once he's healthy, 1,000%. Gerald, very well said, my guy. Very, very well said. Let's see if Gemini will tell me who the 8 teams are. Who are the 8 teams on Seager's list? See if it finds them. I'm actually kind of curious about this. Exact identities are not entirely known. Players submit these lists privately. It was confirmed by major league sources that the Braves are explicitly on Seager's 8-team no-trade list. Reporters have confirmed Seager did not block the Yankees, and he did not block the Red Sox. So the only known is Atlanta. Atlanta is the only known team of the 8 that Seager has said I will not be traded to. The Yankees and the Red Sox are not on the list. Frankie, you were right. How did you know that, Frankie? What was that story? If you don't mind, man, what was the backstory on that? I don't want to read this Sports Illustrated article right now while I'm on the live. What was the backstory on the Braves? How did that even come to light? It's interesting. I would love to know the other 7 teams just for fun, but I get why they're private. I really do. But still, I'm curious. By the way, tonight, Albuquerque and Round Rock square off. Marco Gonzalez on the mound for Round Rock. Marco was signed by the Rangers pretty recently, right? He was signed on June 23rd to a minor league contract. He's kind of been, kicking around the league a little bit here and there. He, of course, has pitched for a number of different organizations. He pitched for St. Louis when he was a rookie, came up in the Cardinals organization. He pitched for Seattle for a long time, right? And then he pitched for Pittsburgh in 2024. Did not pitch in 2025 except for in the minor leagues. So that is another interesting guy to watch. He hasn't been very good. I think he got lit up his last appearance. He's 2-4 with a 7.89 ERA in the minors this year. Maybe the Rangers are hoping that they can work some magic on Marco. But I'm going to be watching Marco's game tonight, see if there's anything fun that comes from that game. Let's do a little preview of tomorrow. We've got Valdez, good old Fromber, man. Fromber Valdez, baby. He's pitching tomorrow. He's got a 4.05 ERA, losing record. I know pitcher record isn't what it once was, but we have, looks like last 3 games, bit of a mixed bag. He actually just got lit up by Houston, his former team, of course, in his last start. 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs. Pitched well against the Yankees, and he actually dominated the Astros in the start previous to the Yankees one. So he's pitched against Houston 2 out of 3 times recently. 2 of his last 3 starts have come against the Stros. So he's looking at 18 innings, 5 earned runs, 16 Ks in that span. So not bad, but definitely a guy that the Rangers have hit in the past. Lefty, obviously, so you'll see Foscue. Jock will be out again, I'm sure. You'll see a lot of those right-handed bats. Cam Cauley will probably be in the lineup. A lot of the righties will be in there in the mix, I would have to guess. So then on the other side for us, Evaldi throwing. Probable starters, of course, you would think both these guys are going to throw, no doubt. So we'll do a little preview for each lineup. Against Valdez, Texas, you got Berger, 235 average with a bomb in 17 ABs against Valdez, the Tigers' probable starter. Cauley and Carter have not faced Valdez in their careers. Duran, 148 average in 27 ABs. I think you'll see Zeke tomorrow just because it's a lefty, but he has not fared well against Valdez. Elias Díaz, 3 for 9, 333 average. Shocker, man. Elias Díaz, another home run today. He's just been good, man. Foscue has not ever faced Valdez either. Higgy is 0 for 5. Josh Young, 286 average in 14 ABs. Nicky Lopez, 2 for 7 in his career against Valdez. Brandon Nimmo, I don't think will play. Osuna and Peterson. I think Osuna will probably get the start, but he has not had an AB. Peterson, no ABs either, but he probably won't play. Josh Smith is 0 for 7. I don't think Smitty starts tomorrow either. On the other side, Evo against Detroit. You got Carpenter 0 for 2, Dingler 0 for 2 as well. Riley Green, 3 for 9. Jones, Lee, Malgary, McGonigal, Outman, Vierling. None of them have ABs against Evo. You've got, looks like Keith 0 for 5, McKinstry 1 for 6, Rogers, the catcher, 1 for 2 with the homer, Torkelson 1 for 6. So it's a small sample size, but Evo has pitched pretty well against the Tigers that are in this lineup. So there you go. Evo, by the way, his last several starts, he's been very good, right? 7 shutout innings against the Blue Jays. He has 20 innings in his last 3 starts, has only given up 6 earned runs. So we might have a bit of a pitcher's duel on our hands tomorrow. Evo, by the way, has struck out at least 9 batters in back-to-back starts. Good to see he is in a bit of a groove right now. At this point, we are going to wrap things up. I will be posting a video later on. I will also be posting maybe some highlights from the Round Rock game tonight, depending on who comes up, what happens. There's nobody really in Round Rock. The only thing, which I'm a little bummed about for the purposes of content, but there's nobody in Round Rock that is like really on the doorstep right now, hitting wise. Like you had Blaine Krim, but then he left to go to Asia. It's just kind of tough at this point with what you've got down there. You know, you got Teodo. I guess Teodo is a name who might be considered an on the doorstep guy, but Gavin Collier just got called back up. Like there's fewer and fewer names in Round Rock right now that are actually legitimate chances to come up. We'll have to see what happens. But look, video will be out later reacting to this reel. And then after that, we are going to have another video out tomorrow to preview the Tiger series, or maybe just do a little state of the team address. Not sure what direction I'll take, but that is the plan. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we will be back live, 8th, 9th inning. That's the plan. sticking to it. Hopefully the Rangers can get back on track. It was a fun 6-game winning streak, a fun 6-game ride. All good things must come to an end eventually, but let's appreciate what the Rangers did, man. They're 7-3 on this road trip. The Miami series got off to a rough start, didn't it? But you had then the team sweep the Jays, win 2 out of 3 against the Guardians. Very impressive. Let's hope that it continues into the homestand. Appreciate all y'all. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.